Hello folks, this is Tillandsia again from Rainforest Flora, and we are ready to do episode 4 of Ask Mr Tillandsia. These questions are from Anna, and her first question is excellent. She wants to know, and let me read it to you because it's actually phrased really well too. I sell several Tillandsia species, and some come from a supplier with dry roots, although after some time a few of them develop roots. I usually trim off the dried roots a bit, but some of my clients only want to buy the plants if they see roots, saying it's a sign of a better plant. But they don't distinguish between the dry and the new roots. Is the presence of roots, either dry or new, any indication of a better plant? Well, this is a multi-question question, so it deserves multiple answers. First of all, if a plant has roots on it, generally that's a better thing because the roots do absorb some nutrients, and if the roots are alive, if they have a yellow tip on them, that's the best of all. If the roots are dried and dead, that means that at some recent point in the past it was happy, it was doing well, but you are free to cut those off. It won't make any difference to the plant. Also, you can cut off the new roots, and that really won't make a difference either. It's just that the yellow roots are an indicator of a plant that is actually actively growing at that point in time. If the plant has no roots, and the bulk of the plants that are sold have no roots because they are imported from other countries, and they trim the roots off, and the difficult thing with that, it doesn't have to do necessarily with the health of the plant, although it can be an indication, because the plant goes through a lot of trauma, shall we say, getting collected and packed and shipped and inspected and unpacked and put out and reshipped and but it's not necessarily something negative. But what does make it hard a lot of times is if you want to mount the plant. And that's why having a little bit of a root base is a very positive thing, because that stub of roots can go into the adhesive and hold the plant in place. Whereas if you don't have that, it makes it a more difficult task. Then you have to actually glue the leaves themselves, and the plants can detach from that. It's just a harder thing to do. But final answer is if they have roots, that's good. If they're live in a yellow, that's the best. And now we're ready for question number 2. Since these are CAM plants, CAM stands for, it's an acronym, crassulacean acid metabolism. And that means that the plants respire at night. The stomata, through which the opening pores on the leaf surface, on the epidermis, respires the gases in and out. The CO2 comes in and goes out as oxygen. It's the opposite of people. And they do this at night rather than in the day. Cacti are the same, as a strategy to live and thrive in hot, dry climates, especially on the hot side, or droughty environments where they go through periods of time with no water. It's generally cooler at night, so when they respire at night, the pores are open, the water inside the leaf can evaporate out more quickly, so they tend to do this at night when it's cooler, so the rate of evaporation isn't quite as fast. And so she asks, therefore, is it better to water the plants in the daytime instead of at night? I don't know if any studies have been done. You can make a strong logical case for that. I don't really know if it makes much difference though, because A, they don't grow very fast in one day, and B, they can be wet for 2 or 3 days and it really isn't going to bother them. So don't let that be a decider, but if it's not a decider and you water them in the daytime, great. The last question is, in her store she has low light conditions and she wants to know if there's a fluorescent fixture that she can use to help the plants grow, and the answer is most emphatically yes. Get a broad spectrum fluorescent bulb, or 2 bulbs or 4 bulbs or whatever. Put them in a fixture within a foot of the plant. That's what's critical. Something up in the ceiling isn't going to help unless your plants are up by the ceiling. The new LED lights also work as well, but the standard fluorescent daylight lights, they call them, or broad spectrum fluorescent lights, get those, or if you've got the money, get the LEDs and put them close to the plants, and that's like 97% of sunlight. They'll just do great. So that's that for today. I have a plant to show you as a special treat, and this one is called Tillandsia loliacea. It's one of the miniatures in the Diaphoranthema subgenus, and these plants have been on there for a while, as you can tell, and they get very little yellow flowers. All of the subgenus Diaphoranthema flowers are small, the plants are small, and they are cleistogamous. Cleistogamous is another botanical term that means that they're self-pollinating. They don't need moths or butterflies like for the fragrant plants. They don't need hummingbirds like for most of the others, or bats for a few. They're self-pollinating. The flowers never really open. So what you lose is genetic variability, but what you gain is numbers. And in terms of numbers, the subgenus Diaphoranthema species are the most prolific and the most successful in the entire genus, because being small, they can grow anywhere. You know, you have the bigger species, they need to be in special conditions. They're like big elephants, but you get the little guys and they can pretty much grow anywhere, and they do. And so they're expanding quickly around Latin America, and this is just a particularly pretty grouping of Tillandsia loliacea. You could separate these carefully with a sharp knife, an X-Acto knife or something like that, and it won't be too much longer before this one fills in and you just have a solid growth of Tillandsia loliacea. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you very much. Again, visit our nursery, www.rainforestflora.com. Continue to send those questions in on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you very much.
Rainforest Flora Incorporated